Can I make changes to my trust without an attorney? That is, beneficiaries add or remove. So, although you technically can make changes to your trust without an attorney, I definitely would advise against this. Oddly enough, this actually just came up last week in a consultation that I was on where a potential client let me know that he specifically requested that his attorney send him a Word version of his trust so that he can go in and edit it whenever he wanted. Now, this might not be what you're talking about, but this isn't the first time a client ran this by me, meaning just going into the actual document and editing it whenever you have changes. And this is not the way a trust would be changed or edited. So whenever there's any kind of an update to a trust that's already in existence and has been signed, it can be updated by amendment or potentially an amendment and a restatement. The difference being an amendment is often what you're talking about here, maybe a change to one section of the trust, like you want to change some beneficiaries or you want to change a successor trustee. So that could be done potentially just through an amendment of a trust. And you may have seen these before. First amendment to trust, second amendment to trust. These amendments have a specific legal format that they should follow. They should be witnessed. They should be notarized. And they should also be very clearly written, and they should also be reviewed to make sure they don't conflict with any other sections of the trust. Sure, it's possible you could type up an amendment on your own and notarize it and have witnesses sign it. But it's very valuable to have legal oversight, one, to make sure the amendment's worded properly, that everything that needs to be in it legally is in it, and also to make sure there's no conflicts with the trust. The other thing that I mentioned, which is a restatement, is often done when you're changing many sections of the trust. So it's easier just to restate it. Or maybe you moved from Ohio to Pennsylvania and you want to make sure that the trust is now governed under Pennsylvania law rather than Ohio law. That often calls for a restatement. Or sometimes there's trusts that I have seen that have been amended so many times that there's 12 different amendments in a row. It gets very confusing because you need to read the actual original trust that was created plus keep track of every amendment on top of it. So it's often simpler to do what's called a restatement, because a restatement is just that. You are literally restating the trust in its entirety. So you're basically, in a sense, making a whole new trust, although the trust name is kept the same, of course, to make sure that there's no issues with assets that have already been moved over into the trust. You can essentially change the entire trust by restating it. This is definitely something that should not be done without the assistance of an attorney, as it can get very complicated very quickly when you're trying to figure out what things should be changed or what is different or how it affects the initial terms of the trust. You definitely want somebody providing legal guidance on that. So while there's various things that you could change, some of them, yes, can be quite simplistic, like just swapping out a name of a trustee or maybe changing out a beneficiary. Can you do it on your own? Probably. It's probably going to be okay, but it's always good to have legal oversight, especially if we are talking about more than just changing out a name here or there, or maybe changing out a percentage that you're giving someone. If you're actually looking to change more substantive features of a trust, I would definitely recommend either consulting the attorney who you worked with to put together the trust in the first place, or if you wanted to consult someone else, because if that's your back off, you don't want to go back to that same attorney, well then see someone else, because oftentimes you can get help from someone else to do an amendment or an amendment and restatement as well. All right, I hope this answers the question. If there's any other questions regarding trusts or anything to do with estate planning or elder law or probate, and you're in Florida, please don't hesitate to contact us. We're atCAUSE Law Office, the non-stuffy attorneys, and the link is in my bio.